is the story of the elephant's child. It is a true story, and it happened just so. Long ago, in the high and far-off times when the world was new, the elephant had no trunk. He only had a blackish, bulgy nose, no bigger than a boot. He could wriggle it from side to side, but he couldn't pick things up with it. But there was one elephant, a new elephant, an elephant's child, who was different from all the other elephants, because he was full of satiable curiosity, which means he asked ever so many questions. And he lived in Africa, and he filled Africa with his satiable curiosities. He asked his tall aunt, the ostrich, why her feathers grew just so. He asked his tall uncle, the giraffe, why his skin was spotty. He asked his broad aunt, the hippopotamus, why her eyes were red. He asked his hairy uncle, the baboon, why melons tasted just so. And still he was full of satiable curiosity. One fine morning, the elephant's child thought of a fine new question. The question was, what does the crocodile have for dinner? By and by, when that was finished, he came upon Golu bird, and he said, "My father has spanked me, my mother has spanked me, and all my aunts and uncles have spanked me, and still I want to know what the crocodile has for dinner." Then Golu bird uttered a mournful cry and told him to go to the banks of the great grey-green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, and find out. The very next morning, the satiable elephant's child set off on his long journey. He took with him 100 pounds of bananas, 100 pounds of sugar cane, and 17 melons. He said goodbye to all his dear family, and he went away eating melons and throwing the rind away because he couldn't pick it up. He went from Grahamstown to Kimberley, and from Kimberley he went east by north, till at last he came to the banks of the great grey-green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, precisely as Golu bird had said. Now, until that very day and hour and minute, the elephant's child had never seen a crocodile. The first thing he did see was a bicolored python rock snake. "Excuse me," said the elephant's child. "Have you seen such a thing as a crocodile in these parts?" "Have I seen a crocodile?" said the bicolored python rock snake. "Huh, what will you ask me next?" "Well, excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but could you please tell me what he has for dinner?" "Oh, that's odd," said the elephant's child. "My father has spanked me, my mother has spanked me, and all my aunts and uncles have spanked me for my satiable curiosity. I suppose that's why you've spanked me too." He said goodbye to the bicolored python rock snake and went on along the shores of the great grey-green, greasy Limpopo River until he stood on what he thought was a log, but it was really the crocodile. "Excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but have you seen a crocodile in these parts?" "Come closer, little one," said the crocodile. "Why do you ask such questions?" "Well, excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but my father has spanked me, my mother has spanked me, and all my aunts and uncles have spanked me, and the bicolored python rock snake, who spanked hardest of all, And if it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be spanked any more. Come closer, little one, said the crocodile. For I am the crocodile. And he wept crocodile tears to show it was quite true. You are the very person I've been looking for, gasped the elephant's child. Will you please tell me what you have for dinner? Come closer, little one, said the crocodile. And I whisper, I think I'll begin with the elephant's child. Let go, said the elephant's child. You're hurting me. Help, help, called the elephant's child. This is too much for me. The bicolored python rock snake heard the cries for help and thought, oh, rash and inexperienced elephant's child, see what has become of you because of your satiable courteosity. If I do not assist you, you will certainly become the crocodile's dinner. And he pulled, and the crocodile pulled, but the elephant's child and the bicolored python rock snake pulled the hardest. After the elephant's child had thanked the bicolored python rock snake, he wrapped his poor pulled nose in cool banana leaves, hoping they would make it shrink. Huh, said the bicolored python rock snake. Some people don't know when they're onto a good thing. So the elephant's child sat and sat, waiting for his nose to grow shorter. But it didn't. The crocodile had pulled it out into a really, truly trunk, the same as all elephants have today. Vantage number one, said the bicolored python rock snake. You couldn't have done that with a little boot nose. Vantage number two, said the bicolored python rock snake. You couldn't have done that with a little boot nose. Vantage number three, said the bicolored python rock snake. Now, how do you feel about being spanked? I should not like it at all, said the elephant's child. How would you like to spank someone else? Said the bicolored python rock snake. Oh, I should like that very much, smiled the elephant's child. Well, said the bicolored python rock snake, you'll find that new nose of yours very useful for spanking with. The elephant's child thanked him and said he'd remember that when he went home to all his dear family. He coiled his new trunk to hide it and said, "How do you do?" They were all delighted to see him and said, "Come over here and be spanked for your satiable courteosity." "Ho, ho," said the elephant's child. "You peoples know nothing about real spanking." "Oh, bananas," said his brothers and sisters. "Where did you learn that trick? And what have you done to your nose?" "I got a new one from the crocodile on the banks of the great grey-green, greasy Limpopo River. I asked him what he had for dinner, and he gave me this to keep. It looks very ugly," said his hairy uncle, the baboon. "It does," said the elephant's child, "but it's very useful." At last his dear family couldn't stand the spanking of the satiable elephant's child any longer. So all the elephants went off to borrow new noses from the crocodile. Then nobody spanked anyone anymore, and ever since that day, All the elephants you will ever see, besides those you won't, have trunks precisely like the trunk of the satiable elephant's child.